Hello folks, welcome to El Canal de Chano Jose. Today showing you how fuel efficient is a 93 Toyota Tercel. The Toyota, you go on their websites, it range from 30s to close to 40 sometimes, depends. But today we're going to show you how efficient is this 93 Toyota Tercel. And we're going to take something in consideration. We got a 14-inch wheels, so it's not the original 13-inch wheels. So we have 4-speed manual transmission. We have no AC, no power steering, and most of the time I am driving this car by myself. So also I only drive it about 65 miles an hour. I don't push it to 80 or 70. So most of the time I'm driving at 65. With that taken in consideration, we're gonna show you how efficient this car is, and let's get started. One thing that we have to take in consideration is that not just because they advertise or they claim that this car is giving you so much mileage to the gallon, or it should, you gotta remember that you gotta also remember that the maintenance, the way you drive, and also the weight you carry in your car has to do a lot with the mileage to the gallon. And if you don't make the maintenance required to your car, then your mileage to the gallon or kilometers are gonna decrease as time goes by, because you gotta remember that it requires also tire alignments, the right pressure on the tire, the air filter has to be clean, the oil has to be clean. So all that you got to remember that has to be taken in consideration for the mileage to be better, or at least to what they claim that the car should give you a normal driving situation. Those are things that we have to take in consideration for us to acquire the mileage that they claim that the engine will perform. So remember, you got to take all that in consideration, folks. We're going to explain the mileage to the gallon and the kilometers to the gallon on this 93 Toyota Tercel on 3 trips. So we did it a homemade calculation. So we just annotated, and we transfer from the dash and from the receipts into the paper. So we're going to expose this to you and show you how inexpensive it is to drive a Toyota Tercel. You can say, yeah, you can buy a Prius or a Tesla or some other Bolt, and you can save. They claim to give you a lot of mileage to the gallon or mileage to the charge, and but remember, you're paying $30,000-$40,000 for the car. So we pay $775 for this car, and we got no car payments. We had this car for about over 10 years, and it's been a great car for what we pay for. We have no complaints. Actually, this car is paying us now to drive it, because the fuel efficiency and the maintenance. So remember, when you got more electronics and more computers and more of this and more batteries and more of this, there's more chances you're going to spend more money to repair those items. On the Tercel, what we have experienced is that we have done very minimal maintenance to it, and we just change the oil, we change the brakes, and we do the tune-ups here and there. We keep it up, so you just gotta keep up with it. So you cannot just let it just drive it and then see how long it gets you. No, if you keep the maintenance going, it's gonna be a little bit of it, and it's gonna extend the life of the car. So that's what has got us. So we're gonna explain to you how inexpensive it is to drive this car. And in another video, we're gonna explain how expensive is to, or how inexpensive is to drive this car for 1 year. So we're gonna expose that to you as well. This is for a 91 to a 94 Toyota Tercel, and we're gonna show you what mileage we got out of this car on 3 trips. And Toyota claims different on the website, but when you put it to the real deal, you drive it around on traffic, uphill, downhill, and all this and that, mileage change. So it's not the same, more kilometers, you don't get the same. So with that said, we drove it on the freeway and street. This is combined, so this is not just freeway, so this is combined. So we're gonna expose it. So let's show you what we got. So we got 1, 2, 3 trips. So we're gonna start with number 1, and we're gonna show you how much we spend on fuel, or how much fuel efficiency this car gave us. So with this car, it gave us 235 miles, and we filled up, and we took 7 gallons to fill up this car, 7.03. So with that, we spent $19.27, and a gallon we paid $2.73. So this was the fill up. This is per gallon, and this is how much we spent. So we divide it. We're gonna get to the kilometers in a little bit, so we explain how we did on kilometers. So we took the 235.5 miles and we divided by 7.03 gallons, and that gave us an average of 33.49 miles per gallon, which is not bad for a car that is from the 90s. To give us 33 miles to the gallon, that's not bad, because we remember we paid $750 or $775 for this car, and we own it for 10 years, so it's paying us back. So to find the cost per mileage, we divided 273, which is the price per gallon, and we divided by 33.49, which is the mileage to the gallon. So we divide the 273 by 33.49, and that gave us 8 cents per mile. So that's how much it cost us in fuel cost per mile. That's 0.08 cents per mile to drive this car. That's on this strip. So if we go to the kilometers per liter, we calculated the 235.5 multiplied by 1.6, which is 1 mile to the kilometer. That's how much about it is. So we got 376.8 kilometers on this strip, and we filled up, and we multiply 7.03 by 3.78, which is a liter to the gallon. So 3 liters and 78 are equivalent to 1 gallon. We multiply 7.03 times 3.78, and that gave us 26.57 liters that we use to drive 376.8 kilometers. So with that, we divided 376.8 kilometers by 26.57 liters, and that gave us an average of 14.8 kilometers per liter. So that's how much we got out of each liter. We got 14.18 kilometers to the liter. So we didn't calculate the price. You can calculate how much it costs you by dividing the price of your liter by 14.18, and that's gonna give you the price per kilometer on how much it costs per kilometer to drive your Tercel or your car. So we go to trip 2. On trip 2, we got 260 miles driven, and then we filled up, and it took 8.56 gallons. So it cost us $23.97 to fill up the whole tank, and the price we paid, it was 2.79 cents. So we paid a little bit more, but it was a close price. Then we divide the 260 miles by 8.56 gallons. That gave us an average of 30.37 miles per gallon, which this is combined freeway and street. So this probably was more traffic, and the freeway was getting more busier, and we spend more time on the light maybe. So every time it might range up or down. So then we divide the 2.79 price per gallon by 30.37, which is by miles per gallon. So we divide the price by that mileage to the gallon, and that gave us a cost of 0.09 cents per mile. That's how much it costs us to drive this car per mile on this strip. So that's not bad. That's actually pretty cheap compared to when you buy an expensive car and you claim to save money on a fuel efficiency when you are actually paying insurance and all that. But we'll get into another video with that. So once we calculated the miles, we go to the kilometers. So you get you multiply 260 times 1.6, which is 1 mile to the kilometer. That's how equivalent is. We multiply 260 miles times 1.60. That gives us 416 kilometers. That's the trip on kilometers. So on gallons to liters, we multiplied 8.56 times 3.78, which is liters per gallon, and that gave us 32.35 liters. So with that calculation, we divide 416 kilometers by 32.35, liters. So that gave us an average of 12.85 kilometers per liter. So also, if you want to find out the price per kilometer, you just divide the price of your liter by 12.85, and that's gonna give you the price to drive this car per kilometer. So that's, it's not per this is, you're breaking it down more precise to per kilometer. That's just on the fuel efficiency. Not so we done trip 2, so we go to trip 3, and we got on this trip we drove, we reset our dash again when we filled up the last time, and we drove that car again, and that trip was 178 miles that we had to drive, and then that took 6 gallons to fill up again to cover those 178 miles, and we paid $16.45 for the full tank, and the price that we paid is $2.73, which is from the same price as the same first trip. So with that, we divided 178 by 6.0. That gave us 29.66 miles per gallon. Not bad again. I mean, it's dropping. It dropped a little bit, but it's because traffic, lights, so it's different scenarios. But we drove traffic, and we drove freeway and streets, so this is combined. We divided at $2.73 by 29.66, which is price per gallon and mileage per gallon, and that gave us a cost of 9 cents per mile. So that's how much it cost us again to drive this car on this trip. So we did everything again on kilometers, and we went and multiplied that 178 by 1.6, and that gave us 284.8 kilometers, equivalent to 178 miles. And then the 6.0 gallons multiplied by 3.78, equivalent to 22.68 liters. So that's how much it was used on liters instead of gallons. Then you divide the kilometers, 284.8 divided by 22.68, and that gave us an average of 12.55 kilometers per liter. I'm sorry. So then again, if you want to find out the price of this, of your kilometer, how much it takes to drive this car per kilometer, you just divide the price by 12.55, and that gives you the price per kilometer. So this is a breakdown of 3 trips that you can go as far as miles to the gallon, and then you can break it down how much it can cost you per mile or per kilometer, depending on the price of the liter of gas. So we drove 3 trips, and we calculated how much miles to the gallon or liters to the gallon, and then that gave us a pretty good mileage to being a 93 Toyota Tercel. So these cars are pretty lightweight, and like we mentioned, this car gets us from point A to point B and point C. This car is a 4-speed manual transmission, no power steering, no AC. It's a 2-door. I got 14-inch wheels, and I got no weight on the car other than just myself. So this is the miles to that scenario. So it might vary if you got more people driving on your cars. It might depend on also the tire pressure. That might be a big change of miles to the gallon because of the weight of the car not being able to just roll. It's kind of want to be static because of the low pressure. So with that taken in consideration, this was how much miles to the gallon and kilometers we get on this 93 Toyota Tercel. Yeah, you might find newer cars that are giving you better mileage, but just think about it. More electronics, more components, more problems, more money, and you're actually paying for the car a lot of money for compared to a used car that you can put a little money into it and get it going again. So that's, you gotta, depends. If you got the money and you can spend it and then no worries about it, go for this, no problem. But if you're looking for a really cheap car to drive, 93 Toyota Tercel is a good choice. So if you like this video, give us thumbs up, share it, and we'll see you soon with more videos here in el canal de Chano Jose.